Hello, everyone. This is Cheyenne Marling with BC Management, here to discuss how to develop a hiring strategy to make sure that you're attracting the right person for your position. So to get started, I want to really define intelligent hiring and what's really behind that. So first and foremost, you really want to take the time to determine the skills and the competencies that are needed for your position and for your role within your program. And don't just think about the immediate future, but also think about the future program needs. And also think about who's currently on your team as far as their skill sets and what's going to complement well with them. Think about the culture across the organization and what type of individual is going to work best within that culture. You want to also make sure that you confirm who's going to be involved in the interview process within the organization to make sure that they can commit to the interviewing, the recruitment process, so there's not a delay. You want to make sure that you finalize the interview process. So how many steps are involved, what's involved in each step as you select the candidates. You want to make sure that you establish and confirm the evaluation process that's going to be used and that everyone is in sync and they understand what they should be evaluating throughout the process. And also confirm the interview questions are being used in the recruitment efforts as well. So as far as the panel of interviewers, it's obviously human resources is usually always included in the beginning and sometimes even at the end of the process. You want to think about the management team. So who within the organization at the management level would be working closely with this individual. And also think about perhaps a coworker that would be involved in talking to potential candidates because the coworkers can really give a good understanding of the day-to-day, where the program's at, what are they really focused on as far as responsibilities to give the potential candidate a real clear understanding and picture as to the opportunity. So as far as the types of interviews, again, there's so many interviews that you can utilize in your process, but obviously the screening, which is telephone, the video teleconferencing. But when you get into sometimes even on site, you want to think about the different types of interviews you can choose from. So obviously selection, you can utilize type of situation or stress or type of an audition, maybe perhaps have them go through an actual PowerPoint and how they present to executives. Behavioral, there's always so many different kinds to really assess a match from that perspective with a structured, perhaps maybe informal to get them to talk a little bit more, maybe some role reversal as well. There are so many different testing procedures as well. Aptitude as far as with certain performance or educational background, any type of personality or behavioral competencies is going to work best within your organization. Psychometric, technical, intelligence, situational. So there's a lot of different testings that you can take advantage of as well, testing procedures. My only word of caution when you think about the different types of interviews is you don't want to make the process too long. If you have too many steps in the process, you can quickly lose a candidate to another opportunity. And sometimes some of the different testing procedures out there, even though they're great, they can sometimes eliminate a great candidate that may have been a fantastic fit for you, but you bypassed because of how they performed on a particular test. So always keep that in mind that this is, of course, a gauge, but it's not your be all end all to selecting the perfect candidate for your position. So as far as the evaluation process, you want to make sure that you really determine the process as far as how many steps in the process and what the timeline may be. And again, you don't want to make it too strung out because you can certainly lose a great candidate in the process. Make sure that whoever your internal interviewers are, that they are in sync with the processes involved. Everyone understands the scoring method that's being utilized as well to select the best candidate for your position. And as far as interview questions, there are several, again, things that you want to take in consideration, but most importantly, always make sure there's a culture fit. You can teach someone the job and what they need to do, but the culture you cannot teach. So, always make sure that you're looking at the culture fit as you interview candidates and really determine an interview for the credentials and competency match that's going to, again, work best within your program, not just for the immediate future, but into the distant future. What's going to work across the entire organization, the different teams that they're working with as well, and really understand that you're evaluating for the right behavior, how the person goes through decision making and thinking on the job as well. Perhaps you may want to look at your current top performers and assess their competencies, how they score, their personality, and interview for those specific skill sets that might make the best match for your organization. But at the same time, I caution, you can't have everyone on your team be the same. You have to have people on your team complement each other as well to really make a cohesive, dynamic team that's really functioning towards the same goals. Always make sure that when you are asking questions, it's open-ended, it's probing, you're getting the person to talk more and divulge more information about themselves and why they're a fit. So be sure to give them that opportunity as you go through and ask the questions, and again, probe and understand what gets them thinking, what gets them thinking, what gets them thinking as well. So questions to avoid, you want to avoid anything that's improper, anything that could be possibly discriminatory, and something that comes off so innocent can be certainly um, flipped around and be taken incorrectly by the other person and perhaps discriminatory. So always have your questions be vetted through HR so you know that you're safe with what you're asking. You also make sure you don't have any binding statements that you're guaranteeing the job is theirs, that they, you know, that they're your number one candidate. So nothing binding as well. And again, I can't even stress this enough. Go through human resources, make sure that you vet the questions through them. There's a lot of changing laws all the time, especially between different states. And one in particular right now is that many states you cannot ask the person their current compensation. So again, things, very important things to keep in mind as you go through the process. So I hope everyone, I hope these were great tips to keep in mind. Again, we're always here for you if you need any help whatsoever for a discovery call to learn perhaps things that we could be helping you with in your recruitment efforts. As always, feel free to go to our website and reach out to any of our internal recruiters, as well as request any of our complimentary research. Thanks so much. Bye.